Willard Toby Hooper was born in Austin, Texas, in January of 1943. Louise Bell and Norman William Ray Hooper. His parents owned the Capitol Hotel, as well as the Paramount Theater in San Angelo, a mid-sized town about 3 hours from Austin. Hooper claims his mother went into labor at the cinema. The connection to filmmaking didn't stop with his family, as by the age of 9, he was making his own films with his father's 8mm camera. He was a lover of all things cinema, but especially horror films. He grew especially attached to the Hammer films, Dracula, or The Curse of Frankenstein, which played during his teenage years. I was in a cinema from the day I can remember. Immediately after school, I would go to the movies. I would see 2 or 3 movies a day, if possible. I would run from one theater to another. This is how I learned. From when he was about 10 years old, he knew he wanted to move to LA to get into the movie business. Unlike many childhood dreams, the enthusiasm for cinema would never diminish, and he attended the University of Texas, Austin, in 1964 to study film. He dropped out after 2 years, and though he never confirmed it in interviews, it's likely due to the events of August 1st, 1966. On that particular day, Hooper arrived on campus to attend a class, but was stopped by a policeman. He shouted at him, "Get in that building. Someone's on the tower shooting." While he was initially skeptical, all doubts disappeared when the man fell down dead, shot in the back of the head from nearly 30 stories up. Hooper retreated to a nearby building and hid there until the massacre was over. That man was Charles Whitman, otherwise known as the Texas Tower Sniper. Born in Fort Worth, Florida, Whitman suffered frequent abuse from his father, who also taught him how to hunt and how to shoot a gun. He was extremely intelligent, tested to have an IQ of 139 at the age of 6. He joined up with the Marine Corps to escape his father, but was court-martialed due to gambling, usury, and threatening other Marines. His issues did not end there, however, as he spoke several times about intrusive, violent thoughts. In his suicide note, he requested an autopsy on his brain, and after this was conducted, a tumor the size of a walnut was found. His violent tendencies affected all areas of his life, as he admitted to striking his wife twice. All this led to the massacre of August 1st. He drove to his mother's house, now divorced and away from her abusive ex-husband, and stabbed her in her sleep. Next, he drove back home and killed his wife, again with a knife. He then drove to the Austin campus and killed 3 people on his way to the observation deck of the Texas Tower. Once he arrived at this destination, he began to fire indiscriminately with his rifle. Over 46 people were injured or killed, some police or civilians trying to stop him, but most were simply bystanders. This event shaped Hooper's perceptions about where society was headed and the sheer depths that humanity could fall to. In the follow-up to the event, the media coverage was almost 24/7, something that Hooper would begin to despise. While this message is not as present in the first Chainsaw film, it's one of the central messages of its sequel and a frequent talking point in interviews. A lot of people have phobias about death. I used to have them as a child, because our family was rather large and there was always someone dying. They would always take me to the funeral parlor, and everyone was looking towards the end of the room, at this big box. So I asked why everyone was looking at the box, and all they told me was, "You remember Aunt So-and-so? Well, she's in that box, asleep." That was all the information I got, until one relative of mine told me that everyone dies and the world will end. Even his immediate family had some close encounters. In his adult years, his mother fell ill and had to have a lung removed. He said that image of her being cut open, just like any other piece of meat, stuck with him, and he couldn't get it out of his head.